I've got my friend here. That his name is Piper, and he is our newest wildlife ambassador and falconry bird for the Southwest Wildlife Foundation. He's very, very beautiful. Now, Piper's new, and I'm going to kind of walk you through the processes on how we start to handle a brand new bird. This particular bird is from the wild, and the wonderful thing is he was raised by his mom and dad till he was 5 weeks old, and then he was raised by my female prairie falcon in her chamber until he was another 5 weeks old, and now we've brought him in and we're going to start his training. Now, the first thing that we have to do is be able to pick them up, and that can be an issue with a new bird because they're a little bit nervous and those kinds of things. Now, you can see what I've got the bird sitting on is called a screen perch, and the screen perch is very, very safe. There's nothing to get tangled on. It's very convenient, and it also lifts the bird a little bit off the ground. And that's very, very important because when you have a new bird, especially that's a little bit wild, if you walk over and they're on a perch on the ground and you bend over, you're towering over them, makes them very nervous. And so when I have a new bird, what I want to do is I want to approach them at their level, maybe slightly lower. And so I will actually get down here on my knees. Hi, Piper. Hi, baby. Yeah, such a pretty boy. And I just kind of bring the glove up nice and slowly. Yeah, such a good little boy. There we go. And we get them onto the glove. Now, again, he's very good. Just a little tiny bit wild, but not too bad. Now, here's the next thing that everybody needs to realize, especially if you're going to volunteer for a wildlife rescue center and handle these animals, is rule number one: you never take a step until the bird, this is a little leash on my glove, till the bird's clipped in, so that if anything happens, the bird does not escape with equipment on the bird. So this way the bird cannot get away, and it's clipped my glove right now, and it's clipped from the glove. It goes to a swivel to keep from tangling, and then it goes to these straps. These are called jesses, and then it goes to little anklets around the bird's leg, and all of this is locked in right now, so that the bird is very safe and cannot possibly escape. If this bird were to fly really hard and fast and hit the window that's right behind you, it could damage himself. So we want to make sure that he's very, very well protected and that no injuries can occur. So here's our little guy. Now the next thing that we have to do is, yes, little Piper, pretty boy, is this is a hood. This is a hood that the birds wear when we transport them. This is kind of their stress protection. This covers the eyes, and because their vision's so good, a lot of movement frightens them. And so especially when they're new with us, we want to make sure that they get used to wearing the hood. The hood is a bit tricky sometimes. It takes a little bit of confidence to put the hood on properly, and quickly, if we hesitate, the bird will start to fight against the hood, and it becomes difficult to apply it. So I bring the bird in nice and close to me, so he's looking at me personally, and then I bring the hood up, and we put the hood on. And I know that looked really easy, but that is certainly a difficulty that a lot of falconers have, is being able to hood a bird. And then we want to pull the laces just a little bit, so it's a little bit snug but not tight in any way. And now the bird is completely blindfolded, and so all the stress is gone, so there's no fear there. Next thing we want to do is we want to weigh the bird, and that's extremely important. And so what we're going to do here is put him on a scale and get an idea about what the bird's weight is, because we start them off very, very fat. And let's see, we're at, let's calm down here, 449. Okay, 449 grams. Now, the bird started off yesterday at about 465, and the bird only had half a meal, which is appropriate, because we're starting to bring the bird's weight down. In order for the bird to want to come to me and fly to me, it has to be a little bit hungry. And so that's what we're doing right now, is basically bringing the bird's weight down just a little bit to get the bird hungry enough so that it will want to fly and come to me. Our next step is the leash. And this one piece of equipment here kills more raptors in captivity than almost anything else. And the reason this kills raptors in captivity is because birds will escape with this dangling through their swivel. So like I've got it here, if the bird escapes with this piece of cord hanging down, this will wrap around a branch, wrap around a fence, and the bird will hang itself. And so we never, never, never put this on the bird unless the bird is clipped to the glove. We never, I'll say never, but I'll show you. I never walk around with a bird like this, ever. Because if the bird does fly off my glove and I'm not quick enough to grab that little leash and it pulls out of my hands, the bird will die with this. So it's extremely important that we never, never trust the leash. The leash is for tethering the bird to a perch, and that's fine, but we never, never put this on the bird unless the bird's clipped to the glove, like so. Now if the bird baits, it's not going anywhere, and the leash is perfectly safe. I can wrap the leash around my fingers a couple of times to kind of keep it out of the way, and now we're doubly protected, not only the clip, but the leash as well. Now we're going to take our little Piper out, and we're going to start to call Piper to the glove. And this will be our first little session. Such a pretty little boy. Oh, you're going to bite me? Such a good boy. Such a cutie. So come on, we'll go outside. Yeah. We're at my front yard right now. I've got a long grass area, which is what we need. And we're going to start Piper's very, very first flight. Now the way that we do that is, first of all, we have to kind of get set up. We're going to replace this leash with a much longer one. Now the longer leash is called a creance, and it's basically it's nylon cord with a weight, so that if the bird does fly, the weight will keep the bird from flying too far. And so we'll throw the creance out a little bit. Give us a little distance here, but we don't need that much today. And I will tie the creance onto the swivel. Notice I keep the glove clipped onto it, and I just put it through, and I stand on the end of it so it's a little bit snug. And then I tie a little bit of a knot here, make sure it's good and snug. And then once I've done that, I push it through, kind of like a falconer's knot that I use, and I push it right through. Now what we have is if the bird pulls against this, it's not going to go anywhere. And I'll put this over by you, Susan. Now what I've got here, this is a mouse. Now there's a variety of things that you can use to train the birds with. Mice are very easy to work with, and they're a chunk that you can kind of hang on to, which works quite well. And so I'm going to keep the mouse in my hand. I'm going to palm it and keep it hidden, because I don't want him to see it at this moment. And then we'll strike the hood. There's my little boy. Hey, Piper. Hi. Hi, pretty boy. Take a moment. Let him look around a little bit. Let him kind of get a feel for things. See where he's at. At this stage, he's quite a bit overweight, and so he's not going to be real responsive. And again, weight's the issue, so we want to make sure. There's my baby. There's my Piper. Okay. Now I will unclip the little falcon from the leash, or from the glove. Put the mouse in my glove, so you can see right here, there's just a little bit of the mouse sticking out, and I'm kind of still keeping this hidden from Piper. I've got my whistle. Now this is the dinner bell, and so every time the falcon does what I want it to do, I blow the whistle, whether it takes a bite or jumps on the glove, and so he starts getting used to the sound of the whistle, which means food. Now, Piper, let's see how he'll eat. Oh, you clumsy little baby. You are so cute. Okay, now he's stepped over, so that's pretty good. And but he's not real hungry, so now he's going to look around to see when they're not really hungry. They're looking around for other distractions. So we have to kind of give him a little bit of time. When he's hungry, he'll eat much, much quicker. Now I doubt that you could see that, but the mouse just disappeared.
Good morning.
And so the mouse is now gone. And then we're going to quietly, stepping back on the glove with the mouse completely gone. It has no idea where it went. We're going to repeat the process. There you go. That's his first jump to the glove. And so he's very, very happy with that. Now, I don't like them having their backs to me, and so I'll reach around with my fingers and kind of quickly turn them, leaving the food there so that they know I'm not stealing, so that they're facing the right direction, and let him eat a little bit. That's my Piper. Again, now the food just kind of quietly disappears. Mice are really good at being able to do this with mice. It really helps. That's a Piper. Very good, little boy. Good Piper. Now we've jumped him 3 times, and that's going to be it for the day, or at least for this training session. What we want this to be is 100% positive, no negatives, and so we're going to clip him back to the glove so he can't go anywhere. I will remove the creance. And see, the really good thing here is he had no idea that cord was there. And so he did everything without having to pull against the creance, even understand that the creance is anything at all. And now he's going to finish his mouse. Such a good Piper. My baby. Such a good boy. And again, for good measures, we're going to do another little hooding. Yes, we're going to hood you again, because that's something you have to get used to. Yes, you do. You got to get used to that hood. That's very, very important. And here we go. See, just no hesitation. It has to be smooth and it has to be quick. And the hood just has to be held properly to go into position. And now we can take the little guy. I'm going to put him out on a perch for a little bit, and give him a bath pan so he can bathe and relax in the shade for a little while this morning. And that is Piper's first training session, and he did absolutely wonderful. And really, within just a couple of weeks, he'll be flying free.